morning, and welcome back to Wake and Take. It's your boy Jason, and we've got some football to talk about today. And today is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you. I, for one, am so very grateful for all of you, the Wake and Take audience, for spending your mornings with me as we talk ball. It's always so much fun, and you guys are the best audience across fantasy football. Couldn't do it without you guys, so I am thankful to you this morning, as well as, of course, the sport of NFL football. We've got 3 games happening later today, so I just wanted to go a little bit of a preview for today's games on this morning's episode. So, without further ado, go ahead and take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Super fun fact. I'm actually pre-recording this, and this is the coffee from yesterday's episode. Same day for me. Still going through the coffee. Still just working through the coffee. So that's your fun fact this Thanksgiving morning. Again, guys, so thankful for you guys. Thank you for tuning in this special morning as well. Maybe you're preparing some food for later. Maybe you're cleaning up. Maybe you're listening on your way to visiting some family. Whatever it is, just thank you for creating the time on this awesome day to listen to Wake and Take as you carve out stuff, all year. As you tune in, just so thankful for you guys. You guys are great, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. Hope to see you all tomorrow as well, as we're back live. But here we go. We've got 3 games. But before we get into the 3 games, I do want to let you guys know that Fast Draft has a Thanksgiving contest. So if you're sitting here wondering what to do this weekend or this morning, as the games are later today, the contest closes at 1 p.m., you should definitely download Fast Draft, go to the DFS tab, and click on the turkey tourney. The Podfather has more about Fast Draft DFS right now.
Oh, incredible news about Fast Draft. Fast Draft DFS is live. It's called the Flex 6 Frenzy. You just draft 6 guys, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends for the Sunday slate. You like Jahmyr Gibbs? You like Jackson Smith and Jigba? You like Tyrone Tracy? Draft him. And the beauty is you can just order 5 teams, submit your rankings, and Fast Draft will email you the results. We awarded $1,000 in prizes our first week, and we're just going up from there. Soon there's going to be a select 6. No drafting at all. You just pick any 6 guys. Our DFS mantra, just say no to salaries on Fast Draft. Don't forget there's free tools on Fast Draft too. You want to get ready for startup season? We've created the best Dynasty mock draft experience there is. And if you want to play in these DFS contests, and our best ball contest for 2025 coming very soon too, just use promo code PODFATHER when you deposit and you get a free draft. It's that easy. And you're like, oh, I already have Fast Draft. Great. Refer a friend. Have them put your username in as the promo code, and then you and your friend will both get an instant deposit match up to $25. We got DFS. We got Dynasty Mocks. We got Best Ball. It's all there for you on fastdraft.app. Check it out. And the promo code is PODFATHER.
Definitely go check out Fast Draft DFS. Cannot recommend it enough. And again, it's Thanksgiving. There's a Thanksgiving tournament. It's pretty fun. At the back of the show, I'm going to show you the first team I've drafted. I have, as of Wednesday, submitted a turbo mode, so hopefully a couple more of those fill before Thursday's games kick off. So you're going to see the team I've drafted so far. That'll be nice. We're going to give you my underdog picks. We're going to give you my DraftKings lineups. And, of course, we're going to go game by game. So we're going to start, of course, with the first game of the day, and that is Detroit Lions hosting their divisional opponent, the Chicago Bears. And I've got to be honest with you, when I'm looking at this game, I am kind of surprised at how Vegas is viewing this thing. First off, they have the Lions favored by 10.5 points, which I guess, let's be honest, that's basically what the Lions have been doing all year, is just smashing opponent after opponent. And Vegas is also expecting 48.5 points total scored. I'm going to go ahead and be honest here. I'm expecting the over. I think that both teams can combine for over 48, and I do think that the Bears can cover that 10.5 points. That's a big spread. That's a big spread. And we've been talking about it here a lot recently on Wake and Take. Somehow I've turned into the Chicago Bears defender after being a Chicago Bears kind of fader all offseason. We've slowly but surely turned into a defender of the Chicago Bears. And I mean, they have improved over the last couple weeks since removing Shane Waldron as the coordinator, and the Bears offense just looks better. Caleb Williams is getting more comfortable. Do I think they'll beat the Lions? Hell no. But will they be able to keep it closer than 10.5 points? I do think so. I think that Caleb Williams will be fine. I think that the passing game will be fine. And I think that DeAndre Swift, as we talked about in yesterday's start or sit episode, in the revenge game narrative, will actually have a pretty decent game. I am recommending starting DeAndre Swift in the revenge against the Detroit Lions. I think it should be a fun game from him. But of course, if you look at kind of the metrics, you do see that the Detroit Lions in general are tough. They are the second ranked defense in points allowed while also being the number one offense in points scored. I mean, this is just a literal a Super Bowl team. Putting it simple, it really is. And the Bears, on the other hand, are just not. I mean, on defense, they're kind of getting it done, which is why I think they can keep it closer, right? Like, I do think that the Chicago Bears defense and secondary especially can kind of limit Jared Goff in this game. And luckily for the Bears as well, David Montgomery picked up a shoulder injury. It looks like he's going to be able to go for this game, but that should make the run game a little less strong. It's still going to be awesome. I mean, I'm expecting a pretty big Jahmyr Gibbs game, as we'll talk about later in the show as we look at my DFS lineups and underdog picks. But I do think that Jahmyr Gibbs, kind of outperforms David Montgomery in this game as a result of the Montgomery injury. But again, I just think that that'll help the Bears keep this close. I do think that this will end up being a closer game than suggested. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think this is going to be a very fun game to watch, and I'm excited for it. I'm going to go with the Lions win. I'm going to take the over on the 48.5 point total, but I am going to say that Chicago covers the 10.5. Some takes, of course, we're starting DeAndre Swift. I like him in this matchup, but I really do think that this will be an offensively friendly game. I know that the Lions defense is very good. I get it. But something about me tells me that the Bears can put up some points in this game. I am going to be honest with you. As I was setting my fast draft rankings for the Thanksgiving Day slate, I have DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen all right next to each other. I can't take a pick of who is going to be better in this game. I think there's a case for all three of them to be decent, with Caleb Williams being the biggest benefactor and hopefully DeAndre Swift, as we recommend starting him. But I think that you could really get away with starting pretty much anyone in this game. DeAndre Swift, the Bears receivers, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe even the less than 100% David Montgomery. The only question to me is going to come down to the tight ends. Sam Laporta, kind of low all season. Cole Kmet, hit or miss pretty much. I mean, you're going to fire them up as the tight end position is just so bleak. But still, I am curious to see how they'll perform today, as the Lions and Bears are both kind of average about tight ends. It should be fine, but that is kind of the one area where I can be like, maybe not. But either way, I like this game a lot. We're taking the over on an already high 48.5 point total, but do think the Bears can cover that 10.5 points in terms of the spread. But the Lions should still win this thing. We're pretty excited for Jahmyr Gibbs on the Lions side of the ball, and on the Bears side, we're pretty excited for DeAndre Swift. But we do think that pretty much everyone on the offense should be able to find at least a modicum of success. Which will lead us to game number 2 of the day, and that is the Cowboys hosting the Giants. Cowboys favored by 3.5 with a 37-point total. I'll say this. I do think we could go over that 37. I know it's crazy, but sometimes when we see bad teams going up against each other, points just end up being scored. The Cowboys have a pretty below average defense. In fact, they're 31st in points for and 27th in yards allowed. And pretty similarly for the Giants, they're 17th in points for and 19th in yards allowed. So neither of these defenses are very good, and neither of these offenses are very good. And normally when you just have bad against bad, points can kind of be scored. I don't know why that's the case, but that is the case. So I do think we could go over the 37. Not sure how much over. I mean, we might be talking about a 40 to 42 point game total. But still, I think that Vegas is kind of getting a little bit more timid about these backup quarterbacks than they should. I don't think that at this point, Drew Lock, it looks like Drew Lock will be starting, is that much of a downgrade from Daniel Jones even. And he's probably an upgrade from Tommy DeVito. So we're actually kind of excited about the Giants offense in this game. And we just saw the Cowboys put up 30-plus points against the Commanders. Now, of course, one of those touchdowns came off the onside kick, but still, they were putting up points. They were moving down the field and scoring. And I think that we'll see a lot of the same here. So I will recommend, as we talked about in the Start Sit show yesterday, starting Malik Neighbors. I think that Malik Neighbors is a lock for at least 10 targets in this game. And with Drew Lock at the helm, that should actually help really all the pass catchers on New York. I really think that this Giants offense is going to look probably better than they've looked all season. I know that's a hot take. I know that's crazy. But I like Drew Lock as the quarterback here. He's a very standard NFL quarterback, and I just don't think he's going to make that many mistakes. We saw him step in for Geno Smith last year in Seattle for one game, and it was actually pretty decent. It was actually a pretty decent game. And I think that a lot could be said here too. Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson, they're fine. Malik Neighbors is incredible. And Tyrone Tracy against this Cowboys rush defense should have a good game as well. And so I'm looking at this, and I am going back and forth on who I think is going to win the game. I do. As I say, it's going to be an over. Dallas favored by 3.5. I keep going back and forth. And I've got to say, as I'm talking about it more and more, I'm going to say the Giants actually win this one. I'm going to say the Giants win. I am going to say the Giants win this one. I've been going back and forth all day, but as I'm talking about it here now, as I'm spelling it out, it just feels like the Giants win with Drew Lock. It just does. I don't know. I do think that the Cowboys, to that point, especially CeeDee Lamb, should have a fine game. Maybe even Rico Dowdle, as the Giants' rush defense is not good. I think that there's going to be a lot more fantasy success in this game, at least in PPR formats, than people are giving it credit for. Again, that's why here at Wake Take, we'll actually take the over on the 37. I think both teams can get right around 20. Right around 20, and just hopefully that puts it at 38 or higher. It should be a decent game. It should. Just, again, we see these bad teams go up against bad teams, and normally they're actually kind of fun. It'll suck to have to eat food and watch this game, but it'll be fine when we look back at it. Like, man, you know, like Malik Neighbors had 100 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had 100 yards and a touchdown. Tyrone Tracy got me points. Rico Dowdle got me points. Drew Lock was totally fine, right? Cooper Rush was totally fine. Okay, so this should be a decent game. We're taking the over, and we're going with the Giants upset. We're going with the Giants upset. And the final game is the Packers hosting the Miami Dolphins. And that is, of course, Thursday Night Football. Right now, Green Bay is favored by 3.5, and the over-under is right around 47. And on this one, too, and I don't know if it's just Thanksgiving getting me excited, but I'm feeling the over on this one as well. Miami and Tua Tagovailoa in particular have very much come to life over the last couple weeks. And the Packers in particular, they're just a good offense. Jordan Love is awesome. And, you know, obviously it's been kind of back and forth, but they're still top 10 in points for and yards for. Yards gained, and top 10 in points allowed as well on defense. So they're a good team. But I do think that 47 is right around where it should be. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it takes the over. I think that the Dolphins and the Packers should be able to score some points in this game. Some injuries to monitor would be Romeo Doubs, as Romeo Doubs is probably not going to clear concussion protocol. It looks like he will be out for this game as of recording this, which means you should be able to fire up Christian Watson. We talked about it on the Start Sit show. We say that he should be flexed. I like starting him in this game a lot. And also, if there's no Romeo Doubs, it looks like you might be able to start Tucker Kraft as well. Tucker Kraft's only success this season has come with a wide receiver injured. So some targets should go his way as well. And then also in the Start Sit episode yesterday, we talked about starting Jonnu Smith. If this is going to be a shootout, he should get similar volume and explosiveness that he's displayed over the past couple weeks. So we like firing him up as well. But really, the case can be made for any Dolphin, any Packer, even down to Dontavian Wicks. This should be a fun shootout. The Dolphins, Packers, both, above average defenses so far this year. But I just think that those offensive powerhouses will go through that defense and we'll see some points scored. I like this game a lot. Again, we are taking the over on the 47. Should be a little bit of a shootout. And because of that, I feel like the Packers are going to win by exactly 3 or something like that. So I'm going to say that Miami covers the 3.5 just because I feel like the Packers win by 3. I still think the Packers do take this game, especially since it's at home. But it's a close one. It's a super close one. This should be a very fun game. Expecting big game from Devon Achane for sure on the Dolphins side of the ball. And then on the Packers, it's going to be a Jordan Love game. I'm calling the Jordan Love game. Not sure where the targets will go. Hopefully Christian Watson as we're flexing him. But if it turns out it's Dontavian Wicks and Tucker Kraft, I really wouldn't be that surprised either. But I'm feeling some Jordan Love action in this game. It's been a while. We just had the 3-touchdown Josh Jacobs game. So I don't think that's going to continue. I think that will go right back to Jordan Love in this one as the Dolphins put up points. The Packers put up points. Shootout on Thanksgiving night. Should be an awesome game. Taking the over on the 47. fine really starting any Packer or any Dolphin really at this point. They've all shown some success, at least the starters, right? And if there's no Dobbs, you could even probably flex Dontavian Wicks in some deeper leagues. So that's the Packers-Dolphins game, and that's all the games. Short episode today, but I didn't want to leave you without talking about some of my picks in as we go on. So for the Lions-Bears, this is my underdog card. I am now all of these are crazy. These are all pretty much long shots. I've got one for each game as well as one pick from each game, which is probably the safer pick. But this is my Bears-Lions card. Jamison Williams over 48.5 receiving yards. DeAndre Swift higher than 63.5 total yards. Caleb Williams over 228.5 passing yards. Amon-Ra with more than 8 targets. And Jahmyr Gibbs to score a rushing or receiving touchdown. Jamison Williams, we actually just saw Khalif Raymond hit IR, but that doesn't really affect Jamison Williams. He's actually had 5 or more targets in every game since he's been back from the suspension. As I think this should be a shootout type game, as I think it'll be close, I do think that Jamison Williams could be utilized. I understand the Bears have a good secondary, but I'm hoping that a lot of that will go to Amon-Ra, opening the door for J-Mo. But even then, Amon-Ra should be able to get more than 8 targets. He's a beast. 9-10 targets feels like a lot for him. Jahmyr Gibbs, the touchdown, especially with David Montgomery nursing a shoulder injury. I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is almost a lock to score this week. And then again, DeAndre Swift, revenge narrative, 63.5 yards. He's hit that mark more than a few times this season. I think he could do it again. And Caleb Williams, he's hit above 228 pass yards more than a few times this season, especially over the last few weeks as well. I know that the Lions defense is pretty tough, but I think he can keep it going and continue to build upon his confidence against this Lions team. Even if it comes in garbage time, I think he should be able to reach that mark. My slip for the Giants-Cowboys game. It was tough. It was really tough, but it is possible. It's out there. It's something. We're doing Wan'Dale Robinson higher than 3.5 receptions. Again, with Drew Lock, I just think they're going to pass it a little bit more. And Wan'Dale's hit more than 3.5 receptions a lot this season. Malik Neighbors, as we talk about starting him, I think he should be awesome this week. 65.5 receiving yards. I'm going over. Theo Johnson higher than 2.5 receptions. He's been doing that pretty much every game over the last few games. Has had 2 to 4 receptions. So I know it's going to be close, but I think that this game has it for him. And then CeeDee Lamb also over 65.5 receiving yards. Him and Malik Neighbors the same ticket. Again, I just think that the Tom Savage corollary is very much alive. The Giants secondary is not very good, and Cooper Rush is locking on to CeeDee Lamb. I think he should be able to get that yardage mark. And for the Packers-Dolphins, I had a lot on this one. I don't think this one's going to hit, but this was a 7-legger. We're going with Josh Jacobs to score a rush or receiving touchdown. And, I actually wish I took that off now that I'm thinking about it. But, hey, why not? He just scored 3. Why not keep it going? Jordan Love over 242 passing yards. I'm feeling a Jordan Love game. I do think that they will be able to pass it a decent bit against this Dolphins team. I think it'll be a fun game. And with that being said, as we're flexing Christian Watson, I like the over 21.5 longest reception. I feel like Christian Watson's going to have a big chunk play in this game. And so 21.5 yards feels pretty simple for Christian Watson. That's a Christian Watson catch right there. So I think he can do that. Jaden Reed over 5 targets. It's going to be tough. That's a close one. I hate when they're right at the full number. I wish it was 4.5, but still, I think he can get to 6. Devon Achane to score a touchdown. That's like one of the best picks every week. Tyreek Hill higher than 23.5 longest reception. I just feel like if this is going to be a shootout, Tyreek Hill should also have a chunk play. Whether or not it's a touchdown, I don't know. That's why I went with longest reception. But Tyreek Hill has receptions longer than that pretty regularly. And then Tua over 241.5 passing yards. Again, I just feel like this is going to be a little bit of a shootout. Both Tua and Love have been slinging it, so I think they'll both reach their passing yards totals. And then, as I talk about, I've got a pick from each game. So for the Dolphins-Packers, I'm going with the Devon Achane touchdown. For the Cowboys-Giants, I'm going with CeeDee Lamb over 12.75 fantasy points. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm giving him a rush or receiving touchdown. This is my 3-leg, 1 per game. I like this one. I think it's pretty simple. And then that's all the underdog I have for you guys. I do have 2 DraftKings lineups. I made one with Drew Lock as quarterback because it wasn't totally official yet. And then one just in case with Cooper Rush if you didn't want to trust Drew Lock. So this is the one with Drew Lock. I actually really like this lineup a lot. Drew Lock at quarterback, Devon Achane, DeAndre Swift, and Jahmyr Gibbs as the running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs down in flex, or it doesn't really matter, but I really like those running backs to have a good performance. CeeDee Lamb, Christian Watson, and Tyreek Hill as the wide receivers. Theo Johnson as the tight end. And the Bears as the defense, just because they're the cheapest defense. I was looking at the defenses on this slate, and really, I mean, I don't know which one I would go with. Just based on price, I went with the Bears because it's the cheapest, and they're a good defense, right? I mean, like, you could very reasonably find a game, you wouldn't be surprised, essentially, if you found out the Bears got a couple interceptions or something like that. Like, I don't know. I don't think that there's going to be a week winning defense. So I just went with the cheapest. But with that being said, my second DraftKings team, I did go with the Cowboys defense. This was more so if Tommy DeVito was starting, essentially. And it's looking like it'll be Drew Lock. But still, Drew Lock has had some issues in his career. I know he looked good last year when he stepped in for that one game. But still, it's very possible the Cowboys defense kind of locks them down. The Giants offense hasn't been great, so we'll go with them. We'll pay up a little bit and pair that with Cooper Rush as the quarterback. For our running backs, we went Devon Achane and Jahmyr Gibbs, and then threw actually Tyrone Tracy in the flex, because I think that while the Cowboys defense is the defense I picked, they are soft against the run, and Tyrone Tracy should be able to get there at least a little bit. At wide receiver, we're going with CeeDee Lamb, Jamison Williams, and Christian Watson. Got two ceiling guys, as well as the CeeDee Lamb floor play. And then Brevin Spanford with 2,700. He's had a couple catches. I'm not sure if Jake Ferguson's playing yet, but it's not looking like he will. He's been limited / not practicing at practice on Tuesday. So went with Brevin Spanford just in case he catches a touchdown, right? Like, it's possible. But for the most part, I feel a lot better about my first DraftKings team with Drew Lock. I don't think a lot of people are going to be trusting Drew Lock in DraftKings, but I think it's worth it. And lastly, my Fast Draft team. This was the Fast Draft Flex 6 Frenzy Turkey Tournament. Now, again, this is a draft, so you don't necessarily get to pick players like as you would want them. But my first round pick was CeeDee Lamb, but I swapped the boost, the 2x boost, to DeAndre Swift, who was my second round pick. I swapped them. So DeAndre Swift, I'm putting in the 2x, CeeDee Lamb in the 1.75. Just because I think DeAndre Swift has a little bit higher of a ceiling with CeeDee Lamb having a good floor. Tucker Kraft at 1.5, just because we've seen him do a lot better without a wide receiver there. With Romeo Doubs not expected to play, he kind of fell to me. Again, this was a draft. It's kind of tough, especially on on a 4-game slate. This does have the Friday game in it. It's just, it gets weaker, right? So then after Tucker Kraft, I went with Wicks. Since, again, there's probably no Doubs, you might as well throw Dontavian Wicks in there. Jalen Wright and Brevin Spanford as my 1x multipliers. I don't know. Again, I submitted a turbo mode order for 2 more teams. Hopefully the other 2 teams are better, but I don't hate this one. It's not bad. I think, let me double check. Let me pull up the Fast Draft. But I want to say this had like a 90% payout. So even if you feel like you have a bad team, you still got a pretty decent chance in this game or in this tournament. Yeah, 90% of teams will be paid out in this contest, which is awesome. Which is just awesome. So definitely highly recommend doing that. Oh, actually, I did have a turbo mode order complete. So why don't I look at that team real quick as well? Won't be able to pull it up as it's on my phone, but I am curious. Portfolio, teams, Flex 6 Frenzy. This is the same team. So never mind. It's waiting for the other one to finish before I get to see it. But still, the turbo mode is awesome. 90% of teams will be paid out in this contest, so highly recommend checking it out. Only $5 to enter. Again, you could use promo code PODFATHER for a free draft, or you could use promo code BillyJoelFan87 for a first deposit match up to $25. Everyone, again, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of you. So thankful that you spend your mornings with me every morning. It's just incredible that you guys listen to me yap and talk about football. I love it. Appreciate you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll be back tomorrow for some Black Friday action. We'll be previewing the rest of the week. We'll be doing the classic game picks and hot takes, going over the injuries and other news stories. Will be a standard episode on Black Friday, so make sure you tune into that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Have a terrific Thursday and a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.